Help me reach 2,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. The message came late, like all bad news does. Past midnight when the house was quiet and my thoughts were loud. "You've changed, Matthew. I don't even recognize you anymore." That's what she wrote. And I just stared at the screen, wondering when I stopped being the man she once swore she couldn't live without. Jessica and I had been married for 6 years. College sweethearts turned partners, turned strangers, pretending everything was fine. The laughter had left first, then the honesty, and somewhere in between, so did trust. But I tried. God knows I did. I worked late, not because I wanted to, but because I thought giving her stability would make her happy. I missed dinners, anniversaries, little moments, all for a future I thought we were building together. Then came him, Nathan, her old friend, the one who just needed someone to talk to. At first, it seemed harmless. A few messages, a coffee meetup, then late-night calls just to catch up. I told myself I was overthinking it. I told myself she would never, until I called her one evening and heard his laughter in the background. That kind of laugh. Deep, familiar, careless. The kind that didn't belong in my home anymore. When she finally answered, her tone was casual, practiced. "I was just with a friend, Matthew. Don't start." But something in me cracked. Not loud, not obvious. Just a quiet break that only I could feel. The next morning, she left early for work. I didn't ask questions, I just drove. I didn't even know where I was going until I saw her car parked outside a small, tucked-away cafe on 5th Avenue in Columbus, Ohio. And there she was, through the glass, sitting across from him. Her smile, the one I hadn't seen in months, was glowing. That was the moment I stopped being her husband. Not legally, not officially, but emotionally. I watched her laugh, her hand grazing his, and realized the woman inside that cafe wasn't the same one I built my world around. I drove home, packed a small bag, and left a note on the kitchen table in our house on Cedar Ridge Lane in Cleveland, Ohio. Just 3 words. You chose him. For 48 hours, I disappeared. No texts, no calls, no explanations. I stayed in a cheap motel off the interstate near Akron, Ohio. The kind of place where no one asks your name, just your payment. The silence was heavy, but cleansing. I didn't realize how much noise her absence had been masking. The guilt, the denial, the quiet ache of knowing I wasn't enough for her anymore. By the second night, my phone was full of missed calls. Her name flashing over and over. Each vibration a reminder of everything I was walking away from. Then came her messages. "Please answer. It's not what you think, Matthew. We need to talk." But I didn't reply, because deep down I already knew the truth. On the 3rd morning, I went back to the house. The front door was unlocked. Inside, the air felt strange, thick with perfume and regret. She was sitting on the couch, still in yesterday's clothes, eyes swollen, phone clutched in her hand like a lifeline that never connected. "You just left," she said, voice trembling, without even talking to me. I leaned against the wall, calm in a way I hadn't been in years. "What's left to say, Jessica?" Tears welled in her eyes. It wasn't like that. Nathan was going through something. He needed someone. It just happened. That phrase, "just happened." Like betrayal was an accident, like hearts didn't break by choice. I didn't shout, I didn't accuse, I just nodded slowly. I hope he was worth it. For a moment, I thought she might lash out, blame me again. But she didn't. She just sat there, defeated, like the weight of her own choices had finally caught up. I left my house keys on the table and turned toward the door. "Take care of yourself, Jessica." "Matthew," she whispered, "please don't go." But I did, and I didn't look back. 2 days later, I got a call from her sister. Jessica had been in a car accident. Late night, wet road, no seatbelt. They said it looked like she lost control. When I arrived at the hospital in downtown Cleveland, it was too late. The hospital room was cold, too white, too quiet. I stood at the doorway, staring at her still face beneath the fluorescent light. Jessica looked peaceful, almost like she'd just fallen asleep. But peace was something she hadn't known for a long time. Her sister handed me a small envelope. "They found this in her bag," she said softly. "It's for you." I took it with shaking hands and stepped outside. The parking lot was empty except for the sound of rain tapping against the pavement. I opened the envelope slowly. Inside was a folded note written in her familiar hurried handwriting. "Matthew, I don't know how to fix what I've done. I thought I was chasing happiness, but all I found was emptiness. You were good to me. Too good. I just couldn't see it anymore. I don't expect forgiveness, but I hope you find peace, even if it's without me. Jessica." The words blurred through the tears I didn't want to admit were there. For all the anger I'd felt, all the pain she caused, reading that note was like being punched in the chest by memory. She was gone, and all that remained was silence, the kind that echoed long after the sound faded. In the days that followed, people whispered condolences, speculated about what had really happened. Some called it an accident. Others said it looked intentional. But I stopped searching for answers. Some endings aren't meant to make sense. I buried her with the letter still in my pocket. After the funeral, I drove back to that same cafe on 5th Avenue in Columbus, Ohio, the one where I saw her last smiling. I sat by the window, ordered black coffee, and stared at the empty chair across from me. For the first time, I didn't feel hate, just an aching sort of forgiveness. Not for her, but for myself. For holding on too long, for believing love alone could fix what was already gone. As I left, the rain started again, soft and relentless. I looked up at the gray sky and whispered, "I forgive you, Jessica." Maybe she heard me, maybe not. But for the first time in years, I finally felt free.